Hello, hola, this is Lena with Especially Made for Me. Thank you for joining and watching. We're going to be doing a new project today. I kind of started looking at my previous tutorials because I was asked for something in particular and to send a link, and in doing that, trying to find what I was being asked for, I noticed I haven't done a tutorial on the pumpkins that I make. So tonight we're going to make one of them. The last one I made, I thought I had a video and uploaded it, and I couldn't find it, unfortunately. But I made one years ago, before even getting on YouTube. So anyways, we're going to do a pumpkin today. I know it might be considered a little bit late for making a pumpkin, but we're still in October, right? So, and the thing with doing the pumpkins is that you can really decorate them anyway. With it being October, you could do Halloween, you could dress it up for the fall, and there's different things you can do with it just by changing the color of your mesh, you know, just kind of twisting it around. You can make a mummy, you can make the Grinch, and anyways, all sorts of different things. So I will show you how I do that. The picture I have on the thumbnail is actually from the one I made years ago, and I was hoping I could find that the video, because that was before we got on YouTube, but I thought I had recorded it and I was gonna do an upload of it, but at least that way you can see the picture, because on the picture for the one that I did years ago, I'm using wired ribbons to decorate the top of the pumpkin, and today we're actually going to be using some mesh to decorate the top of the pumpkin and some florals. So we're going to go ahead and, as usual, change our view of the camera. Let's see, this is not, I want to make sure I put this on silent. And hopefully you're able to see me and hear me okay. Put the volume all the way on mute. Sorry, y'all. Just want to make sure we don't get interrupted. Let me hide it over here somewhere. Okay, so I'm going to change the view of the camera. Before that, if you don't mind, if you haven't already done so, do give thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already done so. Ring that doorbell. As I say, click on that doorbell so you can also get the notifications when we go live or upload a premiere. That way you'll be notified. So without further ado, we're going to go to that multiple view. You should still see me on the upper corner of your video camera or your TV or phone, depending on what you're using. And you should also have a top view, bird's eye view of my working table, my arts and crafts table, so that you could also see it from the top. So hopefully that'll give you a couple of angles to see what we're doing and kind of get a good view, so that if you're not working on this with me and you're watching the replay later and getting your supplies later, you'll be able to know exactly what we're doing and how we're making it. So we're going to need a few supplies. I did put them on the description on the bottom of the video. So we're going to need some chenille stems, and I think I forgot to actually put that on there. And I apologize if you heard my husband sneezing. God bless you. So we're going to need chenille stems. Of course, you're going to need a wreath form. You're going to need your preferred color pumpkin color mesh. We're going to use a 21-inch. So I say that because, of course, you can make them orange. You can make them like an off-white, or, you know, there's so many different colors out there for the pumpkins. So you decide what color you want your pumpkin to be. Or if you're going to make the Grinch, of course, you want to get your green, or, you know, your mummy for, you know, those that do the Halloween could do some white and so on. So anyways, for a pumpkin, I'm going to be doing orange today. So you're going to need that. You're going to need, since we're not going to be using wired ribbons for decorating, you're going to need a couple of pieces of at least 2 different colors of green. And I'm using the 10-inch. I have this dark green, like a mauve type color. And I left a couple, this one uncut, so I can show you what I did with these. We're going to be making some leaves. So you're going to need 2. And those were cut at 10 inches. So we're going to be doing that together with the other green. Going to need some floral picks. Again, of your choice to decorate the top of your pumpkin. I just brought a couple of different ones because I do like having some berries and some pine cones and little flowers and leaves. And I thought with all this orange and burgundy reds, we might need some yellow. So I do have some leaves, you know, because I'm making mine fall. But again, you could always decorate yours, you know, for Halloween or do some other decoration. Get a couple of flowers. Wasn't too sure of which one I would like best to go on the bow. So I have one burgundy red and one with that orange yellow, like a yellow with a hint of orange. And this is for the top of the bow, just so that we can provide some coverage for our middle. And I don't think I'll use this other big pine cone. So for our bow, instead of using the wired ribbon, we're going to be using some Deco mesh ribbon. And this one is the 2.5 inch. So we'll be making just a quick, easy bow with that, and then decorating it with some florals on the top of it. Now, as an optional, you can also get these metal, they sell them at the dollar store. It's like a pack of 3, I think. Yes, 3. And they have different wordings in there. We have welcome, I think it's harvest, and I can't remember what the other one, thankful, I think. It's got harvest. I don't know if you can, maybe, depending on how the light hits it, you can see that. But you definitely will be able to see that on the orange. And thankful. So that's something else you can add to your pumpkin, like right in the middle, if you choose to. Just wanted to give you some options there. I'm not actually going to be doing that today. I'm pretty much going to go with the same look as what I did last year. With the not last year, a few years ago. And with the exception of changing the top. So that's all the supplies you're going to need. You're going to need your glue gun or your skillet, some glue sticks. And I do like to use a couple of zip ties just to secure the mesh, just like I do with our wreaths and our swags and things of that nature. We're going to use 2 little ones. And if we need more for everything else, I do have the packs here. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to move the mouse out of the way, just so we can get started here. Let me know if any questions, and if you don't mind, let me know if you're watching live or doing the replay, where you're watching from, if you don't mind. Maybe your first name, if you're comfortable. With sharing that. So I am going to put my roll of mesh on my mesh roller here, just to make it a little bit easier to control. But if you don't have this, I do believe I have the link on the bottom, underneath the description of the video. So you could always use that, and I'm actually going to switch it to the middle. You could always do that purchase if you'd like. I do get a couple of pennies. It is an affiliate link. But if you don't, or if you don't currently have one and you're wondering, well, how can I have something to hold the roll and it not be all over the floor and all that kind of thing without having one of these mesh rollers, you can, what I used to use before is a bag, like a trash bag, and I would put it in there while I'm working, so that way even if as it rolled, I would secure the bag underneath my little table that I was using back then, and then I would just let it roll inside the bag. You could also use a box. Get a big enough box that your roll fits in, and because it's tall, it's not going to go anywhere as you're pulling. So that's another option as well. So I am going to start my mesh. Now you can start this right on the table and just scrunch it. I like getting the 2 corners in and then getting it to the middle and then doing it again to kind of scrunching it. But that kind of helps with getting the edges in, because we want this to be thick as we're rolling it, so that it can provide us with some coverage. So the key with this is we want to start all the way at the end. We're actually going to be working with our first and second rims, and we're going to start with our small set of crossbars here on the side. This is going to end up being our side, and we're going to secure it here with the zip tie, and then we're going to be using chenille stems throughout until we get to the end. Now on the first one, we're going to stay as far out as we can because we want to make sure we get to the side of it to kind of reshape, since our pumpkins are not usually a perfect circle. That'll give it a little bit of shape, and then you'll see what I mean. The other thing that we're going to concentrate on as we go, so it does take some working, is that we're going to be securing this on the back end, even though our mesh is going to be here in the front. As we go up and down, instead of going around, we're going to go up and down. We want to secure it to the back of our wreath form. That being said, let's go ahead and get it secured, shall we? See, make sure you have a good angle there. And again, we're just going to go using that first and second, and we're going to secure our mesh. Now you can use a longer zip tie if you're more comfortable with a longer one. That's quite all right. That's nothing wrong with that. I just use a smaller one just because we don't really need a whole lot, and we're still going to be using the chenille stems as we go. This is just for some extra security. Okay, so we're in the back of it, and all we're going to be doing as we're scrunching it, we want to make sure our edges are going in still, because we want it to be nice and thick. And we're just going to pull, and now we're going to secure on this other one here. Okay, and depending on how thick your mesh is, you may need to scrunch it some more, or even go double if you like. Depends on how you feel. The idea is to cover the wire. Okay, and again, we're securing on the back side. I'm going to try to move this over so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, let's see. Hopefully you can see there. So what we're doing is securing without letting that chenille stem show. Okay, and I have these cut in half, by the way, because you don't need much. So you can pull as you need to. Oops. Again, we just want to make sure it's on the side to kind of break that rounded look. If you need to pull a little bit tighter, you can pull it and just keep going from there. You'll have to work the mesh as you go. Okay, nice and tight. We're going to give it a couple of twists. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing, making sure our edges are up towards the middle. The more we pack it in, the better, because it's going to make it thicker to provide that coverage. We want to make sure our top is always what's displayed. Remember, we're on the back tying it, so we got to flip our wreath form. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go right next to it and secure it using that first and second rim on the other side on the back. And we're going to keep going that way and twisting back and forth until we fill our wreath form. You can go ahead and put your chenille stems in ahead of time if you like, just so that you already have them there. You may just have to keep them a little bit loose, because you may need to move them, because again, you also have to work your deco mesh to make sure it's where you want it to be. Get it positioned where you want it. And at first you may have to do them fairly close, and once you get towards the middle you may not need as much on the coverage, or you may need a little bit more on the coverage. Again, this all will depend on the mesh that you're using. The thicker your mesh, the less scrunching you'll have to do, and the less particular you'll have to be on your positioning of your mesh. Twist this twice. I'll make sure I don't twist it twice. Okay, here we go. All right, I'm going to turn it over so that we can go ahead and tie our mesh. And all I'm doing is tying it on the back end. If you can see that, hopefully. If not, let me know. I'll try to get a little bit closer on the camera. Okay, same thing here. We want to make sure our edges are all the way in towards the center. And since we want our top of the mesh, we want to make sure we give it a twist before we bring it wrap around, and then stretch on over. Okay, now you could already see how it's taking shape, and it also helps with putting those little lines that you normally would see on a pumpkin. So that'll give it a more natural look as well. And because it's scrunched, it gives you that coverage. Again, just making sure it's nice and tight, and give it a couple of twists, or 3, depending on where you're comfortable with making sure it's secure. And again, gather your mesh, twist on over so we'll have that top. I'm going to go ahead and do a couple more here just to have them ready. I find that actually helps me go a little bit faster, but if I am going a little too fast, let me know. So I want to make sure you can see what we're doing. So that you can make your own. And there's many ways of making these pumpkins. You could always do it with the poof method or the curling method and making some bundles. But I like the way this one method looks. To me, it makes it look more like an actual pumpkin. Okay, I'm going to tuck these under to get them out of the way. And again, give your mesh a twist. Once you have it partially gathered, give it a twist so that you can have the top facing up once you're on the right side of your mesh. And you just kind of go right to the side of it, overlapping it a little bit. That'll provide you with the extra coverage and also with that line. Okay, I'm getting that little error message coming up on the from YouTube. So if we get disconnected, I will try again to get us connected. Just bear with me and come right back. Making sure I don't have anything on my phone that might be pulling from the Wi-Fi. It keeps telling me no data. Usually it disconnects the video. So if it does, we'll try it again and I'll come back. And if it doesn't work like it did a few months ago, we will continue recording and then upload it, okay? Not sure why it's doing that again. Saying no data. I don't think there's anything being, I don't hear the TV going, so it should be good. But it keeps telling me no data is going through and that it may disconnect our streaming. But it's on the actual streaming software. If you know a little bit about that, it says that it's still streaming. So we'll see. Hopefully we won't get disconnected. So again, we're just going to tuck that chenille stem away. We're going to give it a twist on the Deco mesh and come right back with gathering our mesh. And we're going to secure it on the other side. Okay, it's saying that we're offline. So we're going to keep recording just for the sake of making sure that the timing is correct on the tutorial. And we'll do an upload. Because if I disconnect it now to try to start over, it's going to be just like last time, y'all. And I'm sorry. I don't want you to have to keep trying to get back online like I was doing. I'm not sure why that keeps happening. They told us it was because they were working on some tower nearby and that was affecting our connection. But you would think by now, months later, that it would be whatever that project is for the 5G, you would think it would be completed after all these months. They should have moved to a different tower or antenna or whatever they call it. So it shouldn't be continually be affecting us, I wouldn't think. So here how it's looking so far. So you can position your mesh. If you need to push it closer, you can do that, or push it, pull it further apart, you can do that. You decide how much coverage you need based if you on you what you can see from your wreath form. Okay. Okay. So we're gonna give it that little twist. Let me make sure we move those out of the way. Making sure that our mesh is still facing up. Okay. And just keep eyeballing it and move your mesh as you need to. You could reposition it as needed. Tighten it. You know, just pull from the other side. Just kind of pull here if you want a little bit tighter. That'll also help you on saving mesh. I normally don't use a full one when I do this. But depending on how you're stretching it or not stretching it, you might end up using more than one. So just something to keep an eye on. And again, all I'm doing is securing it on the back end. So we don't want these stems to show. Give it a couple of twists. You can hide your chenille stem, just tuck them under. If you need more coverage, just kind of push your mesh to the opposite direction and start over with your next tuck. Just give it a twist, pull on over to the other side, and keep going. Just keep repeating that until you completely covered your wreath form. And usually by the time you're done, then you'll get to pick which side will be your top and which side will be your bottom, because usually one will look better than the other. So of course the side that you feel doesn't look as good is the side that you're going to be decorating. Okay? Like I have to make these a little bit tighter. They're wanting to pull up. Let's do that again. I think it's the actual chenille stem. It's not on there tight enough. Okay, I'm gonna be daring and use the same chenille stem that was there before, because I have enough room. And again, there's the look. We're about halfway there. You go ahead and put some more stems in. And the amount or quantity of pieces you'll need will be based on the same thing, the thickness of your mesh, because of the coverage that it'll provide or not. So you may need more or less based on that. So just have a few of them already cut in half so you can be ready, and then cut more as you need it. I don't know if it's been rainy in your area, but over where I'm at, it's been raining pretty much every day. Storming rather. With thunder, lightning, and lots of water. I've ruined already a couple of shoes, so I've told myself if it's going to be raining, because I do have my ducklies, as I call them, my little rubber boots. But sometimes it says it's not going to rain, and then you have the downpour, so you almost have to carry everything just in case, because you never know with the weather. But it's been raining here pretty much every day for, I want to say almost, well, at least a full week. And then the week before it was raining as well, so it's been kind of a bit much. We have a little garden that we started because we like growing our own vegetables and things as much as we can with the space we have available. And I tell you what, it's been a challenge with all this rain. Our broccoli has not liked it much. We had a time with the tomatoes. And it doesn't look like our colors are going to make it either. So we'll see. The beans are doing good, and the peppers. So we're definitely thankful about that. The corn, not so much. I thought it liked water, but I guess I'm wrong. Maybe it's just too much water. But all we can do is try. Okay, twisting so we can go back to the front, making sure we have everything gathering towards the center of our mesh. Okay, going to start pulling a little bit tighter now that we're getting past the middle. Just to make sure we're going to have plenty of mesh. And from what I can tell, looks like we're doing good. Okay, just gonna open my chenille stem so I can come on over to that middle to secure the mesh. And again, make sure it's nice and tight. So pull in the opposite directions and give it a twist or two, and then just tuck it in. I got the stem cut on that crossbar, and he doesn't want to move. Let's see if I can grab it from the other side. There we go, so I can push it on over. Gotta make sure we put them as close as possible. And I'll show you another tip that I do to make sure. When I see that they keep pulling, see how it's kind of opening? You can use the little bit that you have left over that was being tucked in and kind of wrap it against its neighbor so it'll stay put. You could also tuck it onto the wire and have it wrap around. Let's see, hopefully you can see it better there. So what I'm doing is, since it's got plenty to go around, just tucking it under the next set of stems so that it'll pull to hold it in place. And you can judge which way you need to go based on what you see on your front. Okay? You could also leave that towards the end. How are we doing out there? Don't forget to do a thumbs up if you're enjoying the tutorial, learning anything new, getting some new ideas based on what you're seeing. And let me know via comment. Just let me know how this has helped you, think of a new idea or what to use your 21-inch mesh for. I ran out of stems. Guess I gotta do some more. Again, I apologize for the live stream to have been completely disconnected like it happened months ago. So I will be uploading, so when you see the replay it will be an upload because we got disconnected and we weren't done. We were barely getting started. Maybe there's more people streaming today. No telling what the reason is. But with what happened that first time, we kept trying to go back online and trying to restart the project, and it just got crazy. So I will just keep on recording and then do an upload, so at least it won't have to be pieced together or restarted from the beginning. I do apologize for that. I wish I knew the reason so I could work on that. But who knows? It might be a YouTube thing. It might be, again, just more people streaming today. Or it might be the issue that our internet provider told us where they've been working on some of the towers. And most of that is out of our control, unfortunately. Okay, again, just going a little bit tighter. Getting our edges to the middle of our mesh, just to make sure it's nice and full. Okay, I'm gonna twist on over. Actually, I just noticed we're not going to need both of these, so I'm going to move one. With it being right by a crossbar, I think. Well, actually it's not. I could have just pushed it on over. Let's see. That one is on there pretty tight. There we go. Feels kind of odd. I don't have my folks being able to comment and chat with me. I don't like it. I hope we don't get this next week. So we can chat as we go. Okay, again, just making sure it's all nice and tight. And we'll soon be decorating. We'll be decorating our pumpkin. Okay, looks like we're not going to need all of these either. I think we'll be okay with one more loop around to make sure we don't have that rounded edge on this side either, just like we did with this one. Because usually our pumpkins in nature are not truly rounded, right? Let's see if we can probably take this one off. And again, just work your mesh. It's looking pretty good. I like for it to be nice and full and provide as much coverage as possible. We might need one more, so I was right in putting that other one in, looks like, just for the shaping. For shaping's sake. I'm thinking we may be good to go, but I'm going to do another one. So I like it when it wraps around. So let's put this one back in, and then we'll be able to cut. We're done. So we'll have some mesh left over. And actually, we don't need it, but we'll use it for something else. Looks like we're gonna be good. And I'll show you why, because again, we want to shape the pumpkin. So we're going to be doing our little tuck with our chenille stem, making sure that at least these last two are connected so they'll pull on each other, because we want to make sure it comes over, but at the same time cover the side to give it that shape, just like it is there. Okay, let me put it more in focus, I guess. See, it's not completely rounded. It has that pumpkin shape. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut just to make it easier. And let's see. I'm thinking I might do the decorating down here. We'll see. Let's go ahead and get this secured. I'm going to use this other chenille stem to bring these together because they're kind of pulling apart a little bit, but it'll cover once we do our decorations on it. Okay. Okay, what I'm doing here again is just securing it so it won't move. Using that zip tie. And I kind of wanted to pull in towards the back, and then I'll just get another zip tie for the end of our mesh. Oh, I already have one right here. Okay, so we don't have a crossbar right there, so what I'm doing is grabbing, just kind of putting it under that chenille stem and bringing it on over to this other chenille stem and the wire, just to make sure it'll stay put, because we do not want that to move, and we want to make sure it's nice and secure. Okay, so I'm thinking, since it looks nicer down here, I'm going to do my decorating over here. Okay, so we're going to put this to the side. And I did forget, let's see if my hubby might bring it. I thought I had put a piece of the roll. Let's see. This one might be too strong. I was gonna use, you could use either a paper towel roll, or you could use the toilet paper roll. I do have some saved, and I thought I had put them over here so I can easily grab them. So I'm gonna try to use this one. It's a little bit thicker, so it's harder to fold. Let's see if I can cut it. You would need about the length of a, I guess, a toilet paper, but you can use your burlap to kind of measure as well, because you want the burlap to be a little bit longer. So that it'll overlap your roll. Okay, so let me turn on our handy dandy glue gun. Okay, so with a roll of toilet paper, it will be thinner, so it'll be easier to fold down in shape. That was a roll of mesh, you know, the actual roll, so it is a little bit thicker. And yes, the scissors do work. If you want these Westcott scissors, I also have the link, the affiliate link on the description of the video. I love them because they're pretty much, they don't cut through everything, I'm sure, but everything I've needed to cut through, they've cut. Okay, so we're gonna make this work, since I forgot to bring my roll of toilet paper over here. Okay, and once our glue gun is ready to roll, we'll glue it here just to make sure it stays as flat as possible. And then we're gonna wrap it, cover it with our burlap, and use some glue to keep it together. And all we'll do is make sure that it's fully covered, that you can't tell that it's a roll underneath. And once you feel that you have enough coverage, you can go ahead and cut it. So no specific measurement other than that. Just making sure that your roll of toilet paper or paper towel or of mesh is covered. And that is all you're going to need the burlap for. So while we're waiting on our hot glue gun, we're going to leave that there as is. And we're going to cut our other mesh to make some leaves. So I mentioned I made these already. They're cut at 10 inches. So we have some light ones, light green, and we're going to use the dark green. Now 10 inches is sufficient. So you'll basically have a 10 by 10. You can use a ruler, or if you have one of these boards, you can use that for your measurements. Measuring tape, entirely up to you. You'll need 2 of these. Now again, if you don't want to use more mesh like I'm doing now just to make some leaves, and we may not even need to, we'll see, you can also use wired ribbon and make a bow with that, and then dress up your bow with the florals. Either way, we're going to be dressing things up. We're going to be doing a bow with mesh ribbon instead of the wire ribbon. I'll leave that out for now because we're still going to be needing it for a bit. Okay, so we are going to need I think for these I'm going to use the wire. You can use floral wire as well. Just going to try to match that color. That's the only reason why I'm switching that. So it'll be less noticeable. gonna go just the way that it wants to curl. You can hold opposite corners, pull a little bit, not a whole lot, just so that you can see the two other ends kind of coming in naturally, and just push them down. Or you could just grab the corners and make them go to that middle, okay? And just gather. Give it a twist. And we're going to put our wire right in the middle. And pull tightly. And there's our leaves. It's the same way I made these other two. Okay. Now, another way you could do it is just leaving them just as is, so you can have some longer leaves and have that variety. You will do the same thing. You're gonna get your wire right in the middle, but this time you're not gonna pull in the opposite direction or twist it. The mesh, I mean. You will twist your wire because you want to make sure it's nice and tight to hold the leaf together. Okay, so now we have the longer, wider, we have the smaller, just to give it more oomph, more body. Okay, that's what those are for. Let's see, I don't see the glue gun going. Feels warm, but I don't see it coming out yet, so let me see. Let me see if we can do this, because it does feel hot. There we go. I guess it just doesn't want to drip today. I have, in case you're wondering, and there it just spilled a little bit, so you may be able to see it. I just have a little bowl with a little bit of water, just a glass bowl. And that, in case it drips, it cools in that water and it cools it off and it doesn't stick to anything. Kind of got tired of picking, I have a scraper. So because it can go on your board, the self-healing board, it scrapes off really easy once it dries. So it's not a biggie, but after a while it gets kind of tiring to have to do that. So if you're like me and you have the space, because sometimes we don't, depending on what we're making, you could also have a little dish with the water and have the glue fall on that, so you're not constantly having to use paper plates and different plates or what have you. I've seen some using regular plates, like a ceramic plate. You could do that and then scrape that off later. Entirely up to you. Doing it with the water, it comes right on off. You just throw the water away once it cools, because the water was in there. It doesn't stick to the glass. I'm guessing that's the reason. I don't know. And it comes right on off. Looks like we need a little bit more glue here. Just be careful, don't do like me and burn yourself, because I've done that in more than one occasion. Okay, and I'm just holding it a little bit just to give it time to dry a little bit. And then we're gonna roll it on this, as I mentioned before, and use some glue to keep it together. And we'll use some wire to attach it to our pumpkin. Could also use chenille stem, or you can use jute wire. And depending on your decor, you can change the color of that. You decide. I'm gonna match it just because. Okay. And again, I'm just kind of centering it so we'll have a little bit of the burlap. Whoop, there goes the glue. On both sides. And just give it a moment for it to dry. I like using a little bit of glue on those edges and on the inside just to close it. Doesn't take much. Just again, don't do like me. Be careful, don't get burnt. You could use, there is a the 5-inch roll of mesh that's a little bit thicker. That's also like a jute. Could also use that instead of burlap. Alrighty, so there we are. Now that it's just warm, I'm gonna just squish on it a little bit, and that basically kind of seals it. And then you could do the same thing on the other side. I just find it looks better. Just again, be extra careful. Okay, so the part that looks better to you should go towards the top. There it is. Oh, that's the wrong one. I grabbed the wrong one again. Lordy. Okay. Adapt and overcome, my peoples. Adapt and overcome because we can. It's up to us. Okay. Changing the order here. Okay, so this is going to be the top of our pumpkin. So you would have to decide how tall you want your stem to be. Okay. And that's where you're going to be securing it depending on how tall you want it. Okay. And I kind of put mine a little bit sideways. And wherever you measured, you're going to again have your wire. Sorry, just went out of view there. secure by just twisting, and then we're going to use that same wire to attach it to the back. Did that backwards. There we go. We'll fix it. Okay, once we have it where we want it, we can go ahead and tighten that wire. Can't seem to be able to grab it. There we go. That's the other one. Bear with me. Okay, here we go. Once you have both, then just twist them as you would your chenille stems, just to secure it in the back. Okay. Alrighty, so now this is where the decision time is. Do we want to just keep it with the leaves? Looks like I forgot to twist one. So we want both to be the same way. So we're going to twist. Let me take the wire off. Okay, just twisting again. And we would just attach it the same way we did our stem. And we could have our lighter green, and we can position it as we want, or just to use one of the greens. Entirely up to you. You can decide based on your preference. And then we would have our florals to decorate around it. See, looks pretty. And I'm just holding it together. So that's one option. And of course you could do more on the other side, so that way they'll be even. Could also make a bow and then decorate the bow with the florals. Excuse me. Whoops. Don't know what that was. Okay, so you can use your easy bow. You can do it by hand, which is what I'm going to do. I'm just using that to roll it. Okay, so you can decide how long you want the tails to be. If you want tails, And just make a quick, easy bow. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. Just tuck under. Decide how many loops you want, how big you want your loops to be. And then just hold them over so you can see that they're the same. Another option, like showing options. If you want just the one with the 2 loops, you could do a little crossover. Decide how long you want your tails to be. And now you have a bow. So you would just, of course, make your loops bigger. Okay? The bigger you go this way, okay, the bigger this is, the bigger your loops will be. So you could do multiple of these and put them together for your top. Or you can make a big bow and then attach it, or we can do the leaves, which is what I'm going to be doing. But I wanted to show you the bow option, okay? Alrighty. We're going to keep it simple, just like giving ideas. Ideas, because why not? Okay, let's put our little pumpkin into focus. Looks like, did that come loose? Okay, it'll be covered here shortly. Alrighty, so now we're going to attach our leaves, starting with the darker green. We're going to be doing the same thing here, just going to the back. And twist on. You can use your stem. You can use your wreath form. Entirely up to you. Getting the glue from my fingers on that. Don't mind me. Okay. And again. Same concept, we're just going to add our lighter green. Now you could always grab all of these together and attach them all at once. And then you decide if you want more than one lighter color, or just the one or the two. You can also attach them the long way, so you can have the leaves going sideways, depending on how full you want it to look. Okay. I am going to move this back. See if I can grab it on here. So I want them to be together. And I could probably just pull it back out faster and put them together at the same time, but let me just do that. Just do it on untwist. Okay, so there's the look with 2 and 2. And I kind of want the green, the darker green, to be seen a little bit more, so I'm going to pull down on that and put these in between. And again, you could always put the leaves together, all of them together. It doesn't have to be one at a time. And then attach them to your stem or your wreath form. That is definitely your option, based on your preference rather. I'm just tucking in the wire from the stem, and you could always cut that down as well. Okay, decision making time. Which picks to use and where to put them, all based on your preference. Now, word to the wise, if I can say it that way, once you glue it on, you are done. So I'm just going to show you an option or two. We're not going to do the glue. And we're going to call it. I'm going to use this one because it's got just a little glittery leaf. So I definitely want to use that one. And I'll just use a couple of these other ones. Don't know that I want to use them all. If you're able to push any of the leaves up, I would recommend doing so. On this one, it's got some wire, plastic, and the pick itself is made out of wood. So you would almost have to pick everything out and glue it. Let's see. And then decide. I like how it's got the pine cone and the little berries, and the little flower. So you can kind of play with it. I'm gonna actually cut that down a little bit if I can. I have to split them up. I was trying not to because I like the way it looks together. Let's see. And then for the ones that you can move around, just kind of play with it. Once you know exactly where you want it, then go ahead and start gluing. I'm going to spread some of that brown. Okay, going to the other side. And right now I'm just tucking it in just to kind of see how it looks. I'm really liking it. And then we'll do some gluing, okay? Or I'll do some gluing off video. Okay, I'm gonna put this one more towards the middle so we can have our little glitter coming up. I have to cut down that one down a little bit more. We'll see. I like it. Don't know that it needs anything else really. If I keep playing with it, I'm gonna mess it up. Keep trying to fluff it up a little. But I like it. Hope you like it too. Again, just play with your florals. I don't know if I want to add more. You could make a bow and do the same thing. Just incorporate your florals with your bow. If you decide to go that route, I'll probably, because I'm so used to using the wired ribbons like I did on that one that's on the thumbnail. So I may probably do a small bow, have just a little bit of a tail, and then add the florals to it. But I don't know. I might just do the tails because that's what I'm missing. I keep looking at it. It's like, I want something else on here. But we'll do that on video. So I still want to make sure I get this uploaded for you. And then again, make sure thumbs up. If any questions, please put them on the comments because I do check them periodically to make sure I don't miss any questions. But this is our pumpkin. I hope you like the tutorial and try it. Let me know what you think and just tag us on social media. Just use the hashtag and the name, especially made for me, the number 4. That way we can go ahead and pull it and see what creations you have out there with the ideas you've gotten from us. So I'm gonna go ahead and change our video look, our camera view. Hello. See if I can show you another angle here. Let's see if we hold it flat or if we go the other way. Whoops, I forgot it wasn't glued, y'all. Just that fast. But do let me know what you think. Again, once you know for sure where you want it, how you want it, glue it down. Don't do like I just did. But since I want to add those tails, I don't want to glue anything. But that is it for a pumpkin tutorial. I will take a picture of it once it's complete with the tails and with the wired ribbons, so that way you can see that look. But it'll look very similar to what's on the thumbnail, just different ribbons. Okay, and until next time, please keep creating, stay safe, stay liquid, and we'll see you next time, Friday, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. You have a wonderful day.